Do you ever often wake up already feeling really anxious or foggy or just downright heavy? Or as if your body is bracing for something that hasn't even happened yet? So here's the thing, that's not you being dramatic. That's kind of your nervous system doing what it was already trained to do. In this video, I'm going to be sharing 5 simple trauma-informed science-backed morning routines that can help you regulate your nervous system so that you can start your day with more presence, more calmness, and the capacity to handle whatever comes your way. So let's get on into it. Welcome to the Path of the Dark Goddess. I am Serena Scarlet Fatale. I am a trauma-informed guide, chaos witch, and priestess of the Dark Goddess. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about 5 essential things that you need to do every morning that will help regulate your nervous system. And these practices, what they will end up doing is helping you feel more grounded, centered, and in control, whether you're navigating stress, anxiety, or maybe you're just looking to bring a little bit more peace and calm into your life. So let's get going. Routine gives your nervous system to rely on, not because it's trendy, not because it's cute. What it does is it creates predictability, and predictability is a form of safety. So here's the thing. Your brain strengthens the pathways that you use the most, and it's not about good or bad. It's about what's repeated. And like I said, it's not the good parts. It's literally just what's familiar. So this is called neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire itself based off of experience. So every thought, behavior, or reaction sends a signal to your brain, and that signal travels along a network of neurons called a neural pathway. So the patterns that you use most after using them for a while, they become like a 6-lane highway. So here's the thing, even if those pathways were formed through trauma, unhealthy coping skills, or chaos, your brain is going to default to them. Why? Because they've become fast, automatic, and easier to access. But here's the thing. If you try to respond differently, you try slowing down or breathing or doing something gentle, or maybe you're trying to create new habits. Maybe you're trying to do something different. Maybe you want to work out, or maybe you want to start meditating, or maybe you want to do a variety of different things. What that is going to be like for you, those pathways, those neurons, is like stepping into an overgrown dirt path. It's going to be unfamiliar. It's going to be slow, and it's not going to be rewarding at all. So your brain is going to resist. It's going to want to take that 6-lane highway, even if that highway is chocked full of things that are unhealthy for you, things that are bad for you. So when you feel like this happen, when you're trying to do something and you keep reverting back to the same thing, that's not failure. That's just how your brain's been wired. But here's the thing, the more that you take that dirt path, the more that you interrupt that pattern, even if it's just a little, you are clearing it and you are building something new. And the more that you walk that path, the more solid it becomes. That other highway starts to shrink down, and then suddenly this dirt trail becomes a road. And eventually, this is what your system is going to begin to reach for safety without having to be forced. That's what these routines and rituals are all about. Not changing your life overnight, but choosing that harder path until it becomes easier. So let's talk about 5 ways that you can do something every morning to regulate and make these pathways stronger. So first one, don't pick up your phone. No emails, no social media, no doom scrolling. Don't respond to those text messages. Try to give yourself about an hour before you plug into your phone. So here's why it works. Your cortisol levels, which are your body's primary stress hormone, are naturally elevated during the first 30 to 45 minutes of waking up. You get a cortisol spike, and this is called the cortisol awakening response. It's part of your natural rhythm, and it is designed to help you become alert and get ready for the day. But when you immediately check your phone, you start adding external stressors, those notifications, social comparison, bad news, overwhelming messages, and that endless scrolling. This can spike those cortisol levels even higher and then activating your nervous system. And then it can push you into fight or flight without you even really taking a conscious breath. So here's the thing I've talked about in previous videos. Your nervous system doesn't care if it's an actual emergency or if it's a flood of information. It's going to respond the same way. Something's happening. I have to prepare to act. And if survival mode is your main baseline right now, it's going to become a loop. You wake up, you get dysregulated, you check your phone, you get flooded, you stay regulated, rinse and repeat. But I also want to point out something else, because maybe you're not someone who has a lot of stress or is extremely dysregulated, which good for you. I love that for you. It's not just about that. It's also a form of self-distraction. It can distract you from avoiding the discomfort of stillness, to not feel what is going on with your body, to delay reality, to put something between you and whatever is waiting for you in the day, those goals, those routines, all of that stuff. It also gives your brain dopamine. It's that quick hit of stimulation that overrides the discomfort of just waking up. And if you're prone to procrastination or shutting down, this phone scroll might not just feel like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but suddenly an hour's gone by and you haven't got your ass out of bed, you haven't eaten, you haven't grounded, or even fully landed into your body. The truth is this: the more time you spend reacting to the outside world, the less space that you have to connect with your inner self and your inner world. That first hour of your sacred nervous system, that's so important to really kick your day off. So give that first period in the morning to yourself, not to your news feed. Number 2, cold water. This is one of my favorites, and it's been one that I learned as a DBT distressor, like emotional regulation kind of tip, where when you were in emotional distress, you submerge your face in water. So here's the thing, I'm going to get a little realistic. Maybe you don't want to submerge your face into water, but there's other ways that you can do it. But really quick, let's talk about why it works. So the cold activates the trigeminal nerve, which is a facial nerve that connects to that vagus nerve, which is part of your parasympathetic nervous system. So this pathway is also part of the mammalian dive reflex, which is like a super ancient automatic calming response that slows down your heart rate, regulates your breath, and restores balance to your system when your face is exposed to cold water. It's a really cool scientific thing. So what happens when you do this is you're not just like forcing yourself to do something crazy or weird. You're actually stimulating a natural reflex that can help you re-enter your body and come into a calm, collected state. Because this mammalian dive reflex, what it does is it kind of like pushes all of that stuff aside and puts you in a calm state, a calm, focused state. And they believe it's something about just survival, like shutting down those other parts of your brain to induce survival. So pretty cool, right? Now, this is really, really great if you have a tendency where you wake up feeling numb or disassociated, fogged or frozen, panicked, overstimulated, or you're just in emotional distress. So that cold really cuts through that fog. It's really awesome. So like I said, what it does is it activates that vagus nerve and it calms the body. It can help you shift out of that freeze or that fog anxiety, but it also restores sensory awareness when you're disconnected. And it also releases hormones that help boost energy and clarity without extreme oversensitive stimulation. So it really does regulate it. Unlike caffeine or adrenaline, which nothing against caffeine, I'm a caffeine girly in the morning, but this is a good thing to do before you get that caffeine into your body. Because caffeine, while it does wake you up, if you're already in this dysregulated state, it can kind of push you overboard. So here's a couple ways that you can do it. You can just splash cold water onto your face. You get cold tap water, you just splash it on your face, maybe hold it there, and just kind of do some deep breathing, some just deep inhaling, deep exhale, and then just kind of calm down. And so this is a great way to do it. Another way that you can do it is you can take a cold compress or a washcloth. One of my therapists actually told me to take a bag, like a Ziploc bag, and put water and keep it in the fridge and just pull it out and put it over your face. You want to put it over like your forehead and like all through this area. And then you just hold for like 10-30 seconds. And the thing is, you also hold your breath while you're doing this. And then you take it off, take a breath, couple breaths, and put it back on. So this is just a really awesome way that you can do it. And it's kind of an easier way than the face immersion, which is that full dive reflex reset thing that I was taught in therapy. So what you do is you'll take a bowl of water, make sure it's big enough that you can submerge all through here. And then you put a couple ice cubes in it. You want it to be kind of chilly. And then you're going to put your face in the bowl, hold your breath. Obviously, don't breathe while your face is in the bowl. And you just hold your breath for 10 to 30 seconds, whatever you can do. Bring your face up, take a couple breaths, and then go back in. And then you just do this a couple times. And then you just kind of come to, wipe your face off, take a couple breaths, come into it. This is really, really, really good for high anxiety, panic attacks, when you're highly activated. Like if you have a bad dream, or for me, I don't always have dreams, but I will have like emotional reactions. I'll have emotional triggers. And so I might not have a dream, but I will wake up carrying a heaviness, because dreams dig into the subconscious. And if you're working through something, or you're stuck in some cycles, or triggered, or having PTSD things, your subconscious is going to be processing whether you remember it or not. So, like I said, that one is pretty intense. Some people it might not be good for. It might trigger things. So just find what works for you. Now, here's the last one. This is where you do like a cold shower. So you can end your shower in the morning with a minute or two of cold water, and just let it like kind of get all over you. Like put your face into it and just sit there and just sit with that cold water hitting you. And that's very similar. That's a really good way to regulate. Now, if you're super ballsy and like super intense, you can get into ice baths, which I haven't done that yet, so I can't speak on it. I'm very curious about it, but I don't know if I'm fully ready to do me an ice bath. But that's where you go and you get like a big thing that you can submerge your body. You put ice in it. I've seen people get like old freezers and like fill it with ice and just keep the thing closed and then open it up, and they don't have to constantly be filling it with ice. And you work your way up to it. Yeah, I haven't gotten into that one. I'm interested, but I don't know if that's my life. So anyways, this is really great because you can't think your way out of survival. You know, when your nervous system is dysregulated in the morning, like you just aren't focused and you're scattered and everything overwhelms you. And it really just kind of can set the mood for the day. And cold sensation really does work directly with the body. It really does stimulate that nervous system. And it really just can send that clear physical message to the vagus nervous system to slow down. And it's not any type of bypassing. It's really just like like a reorientation. So we're going to dive into the next one. This one is one of my favorites, and this is one that you really don't even have to do to get out of bed. You can do it. You can wake up and do it. Just be careful if you're like me. If I do this one's like right when I wake up and I don't get up and moving, I'll fall back asleep. But this is breath work, and you can pair it up with sound, and this is called vagal toning. So my personal favorite way to do this is if you breathe in for 7 seconds through your nose, you hold for 4, and then you exhale through your mouth slowly with like pursed lips, like for 8 seconds. And you do that a good couple times. And what that does is that like intentional breathing, that intentional delayed long out breath triggers that parasympathetic nervous system to start regulating. There's a weird science thing that is pretty cool behind it. So here's a kicker. You can also do this thing when you exhale. You can do a humming, you can sigh. Really common one with somatic practices is VOO, VOO. So you inhale And then when you exhale, you go woo, and you really want to feel it woo. You really want to feel a deep, low vibration, like you woo. You want the vibration. It's really cool when you look at like chanting and monks, they had it right the whole time. But the huge thing is you just want it to be slow, you want it to be audible, and you want it to vibrate. And so let's get kind of into why this happens. So long, slow exhales activate that parasympathetic nervous system, that part of your nervous system that's responsible for rest, regulation, and recovery. And what it pretty much just signals to the brain is we're not in danger. We can slow down now. Now, when you pair it with sound, when you pair that breath work with sound, it really takes it to another level. So vocalization, whether it's humming, sighing, chanting, it stimulates that vagus nerve as it travels through your throat and your vocal cords. And the vagus nerve connects to your brainstem, your lungs, your heart, your gut, and so much more. And it's a really big part of that main highway of regulation throughout the entire body. So when you engage it through vibration, you're not just calming your breath, you're calming your entire nervous system from the inside out. And that's what they call vagus toning. It's really training your vagus nerve to activate faster and more effectively when you need to regulate. So let's talk about why this matters, especially for trauma survivors. If you are somebody who has spent years in fight or flight or freeze, your breath mirrors that survival state. If you can have shallow or fast breathing that's attached with anxiety or hyper arousal, you can be like really like held, like you hold your breath, or you feel stuck, that's with your freeze or your disassociation. Or you can just barely feel it, like you're just barely there, and that's with that shutdown and disconnection. Breath is often the first thing trauma will disconnect you from, but it's also one of the first things that you can reclaim and call back. And when you pair breaths with sound, you're not just calming down, you're really giving your entire body and nervous system something to feel. And it becomes a sensory anchor that can pull you out of your head and your body really quick. And it's just a really cool way to work with your words are hard. Not sociology. Anyways, words are hard. I can't say the word that I'm thinking. It's not coming out right. Anyways, so we're going to talk about ways that you can do this. Like I said, humming. So you can inhale. And then just exhale with a soft hum. And just feel that vibration. Feel it through your lips, your chest, your throat. And just repeat it a couple times. And if you can put your hands on your heart and you can feel it. And this is also a really cool way of self-regulation. Sighing, just inhaling and then just intentionally exhaling with a long audible sigh. Let your shoulders drop. And this is a really instinctual regulation that your body already knows and will do. Like I said, that VU sound, this is, like I said, you inhale deeply, slowly through the nose, and then you exhale with that long, low VU. And you just go VU, and you go and extend. And once again, feel that vibrate through your chest, through your throat. Feel it throughout your body. Another one is chanting or singing. Mantras, prayer, or song is something great. Some people say if it's something that is really repetitive and low, and really focusing more on the sound and the vibration versus the actual word. You want to feel it once again all through your body. And I really love it. I don't know who here is a singer or likes to sing, but seriously, next time you sing, take a look at how you feel afterwards. Really tap into your body and see how singing is such a form of regulation. And so I really just want to kind of clarify, this isn't just performance. This isn't just cute. This isn't just, that new age hippy dippy bullshit. It's something that really does help you manage your symptoms. It's something that gives your body a new rhythm to follow. And it's an intentional way of creating that internal stability that your nervous system can really latch onto. It's one of my favorites. Breathwork is honestly, it is one of my favorites. And if you start getting really into the habit of breathwork, you will find yourself naturally tapping into it when you're stressed out. So what we're going to talk about next is going to be gentle movement. And this one's really fun too. So I want you to just kind of take a moment and roll your shoulders. Maybe stretch your neck, rolling it back and forth gently. Just kind of give yourself a moment to stretch. I love this because moving your body is like a way that you reclaim what belongs to you again. And it's not just about working out. Because when your nervous system's dysregulating, your body is holding on to that imprint. Stress and trauma, like I've talked about, doesn't just live within your mind. It shows up in your muscles, your joints, your breathing, even onto a cellular DNA level. Trauma can affect you. And we can feel it. We can feel when we're stressed. We can feel it, the tension in our neck. The jaws, the hips. Hips is a big one for me personally. Your breathing gets shallow, your posture tightens, and it's almost like you're bracing for something, like you're bracing for that next hit, and you don't even realize it. And that bracing becomes your baseline. And if you don't interrupt it, the system can, your nervous system can actually end up staying stuck in this survival mode long after the threat is gone. And we're going to talk about why. Movement, especially if you've experienced something that has you stressed out or something that might be traumatic, or maybe you're just stuck in that because of, a lot of reasons. Movement is, when you incorporate movement, it is part of a process called completing the stress cycle. It's a process that has been studied and validated by somatic therapists and trauma researchers like Dr. Peter Levine and quite a few other ones, the Nagoski sisters. I can't say things. I have a lot of Gemini placements and words come out funny sometimes. Don't judge me. But what does completing the stress cycle mean? So let's break it down. Something stressful happens. It could be big, it could be small, it could be ongoing, and your body is going to react to that event like the nervous system is designed to. Your heart rate might spike, your adrenaline might start flooding that system, your muscles get ready to move. That is your stress response getting ready to protect you or get you out of that situation or fight. But here's the thing. If you don't give your body a way to move that energy out of that freeze, fawn, shutdown, or any of that, your body never gets the message that the danger has passed. And that energy and those responses, they don't go away. They just sit there. They sit there in your body. Movement completes the cycle. It gives your system a physical exit that says we're done. We can let go, we can move on. So when you incorporate exercise, whether it's gentle or actual working out, it's not a symbolic moving. It's not some weird performative health thing. You're literally somatically finishing something within you that your body may have never been able to complete. And it's not really about reliving it. You just need to move and get it on and going. So let's think about it. And this is this whole like completing the stress cycle. You'll see animals in nature do this. Like I've talked about it before, I think, where let's say like there's like a deer or like a little prey, and it's like doing its thing, and it picks up at a predator's like getting ready to chase it. It will run. And it gets to safety. And once the coast is clear, it will shake its little body. And that's literally just completing that stress cycle. It's shaking it out. It's getting it out of its system and triggering that part in the body to say, okay, we're good. Time to move on. So if you are somebody who wakes up feeling heavy, feeling flat, feeling emotionally, what the fuck, there might be a chance that your body is in a dorsal vagal state, or it is in and that's part of the freeze collapse part of your nervous system. So this can also, when you're in this, sometimes you have to get that movement going, but maybe you don't feel the intensity or feeling like you have to push. Like, don't go for a 5-mile run. Sometimes you need to do and incorporate gentle rhythmic movement that reorients and gets your body back into the present. You don't have to do it like some choreographical process. You don't even need motivation. You don't need to do this complicated workout routine. You just need something that can signal your body that you're here, that it's safe, and you can start moving and going on. So let's talk about ways that we can practice movement. And I'm going to really focus a lot on gentle movement because there really is no one size fits all. It really depends on where your nervous system is, where you're at, what your body's asking for. And so we're going to just talk about it. You can really start with gentle stretching. And this is something that you can literally do in bed. You can just start stretching, reaching your arms overhead, claim that space. You can kind of start putting your legs up in a V with your back on the bed and moving your legs back like windshield wipers. You can do things with your arms. There's a lot of different things. If you want to stand up, you can, fold forward and give that spine a little bit of decompression. You can move your joints. You can just really just start doing that gentle stretching. Just, even 5 minutes of just gentle stretching can really, really kind of help that body kind of reorient. And like I said, it's all about just saying we're moving, we're not under threat. It can soften the tension and it can help you feel like you're back home in your body. So another one is yoga or Tai Chi, if you feel like you can get up and do it. And it doesn't have to be something complicated. You can just do a 5, 10, 15-minute process. There's a lot of videos on YouTube for beginners looking into gentle flows. There's a lot of stuff. But just doing these a few rounds, a few minutes of all of this, of just short, slow sequences, you can keep it soft and mindful. Now, if you want to go do something more intense or more active, that's on you, boo-boo. But I'm just letting those who need to hear it right now, you don't got to go all into it. Sometimes we have to start out slow. Sometimes we have to start out soft. And I love yoga. I'm not much of a Tai Chi girl. I can appreciate it, but I'm a yoga girly. These practices combine breath and movement and awareness. And this is such a phenomenal way of nervous system regulation, especially if you're stuck in chaos, you're disconnected. And I really want to reiterate, it's not about the poses. There are some people who will argue with me about that. I don't give a shit. I'm really here for you to get grounded into your body and come into the present and come into the now and trigger yourself of I'm safe and good. So we're going to talk about the next one, walking. You can just walk. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. A lap around your block. 5-10 minutes, just get up and go. I walk my daughter to school every morning to the bus stop up the gravel road. It takes about 4 minutes each way to get her to the bus stop. And that is one way and I always feel really good. And it's there's a bit of a hill. It's not an intense hill, but it's there's a bit of an incline. And I always feel really great. When I return back home and I'm oh yeah, no, I'm killing it. I'm feeling really motivated. I'm feeling really good. The blood's flowing, the birds, the fucking sun. I'm not a sun girly, for those of you who know me. I don't do well in the sun, but it's those early hours of the sun where I try to get my vitamin D in. So walking is a really good thing, and it doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't have to be a whole lot, just 5-10 minutes of just getting up, getting that blood flowing. And it really just helps that nervous system with stress, with moving, all the things we've been talking about. So we're going to get into number 4, shaking and somatic releasing. I am a firm believer that twerking is a spiritual and nervous system regulation process, and I don't care what you think. Literally, just the way we talked about, shaking is how animals release that trauma. It discharges and releases those hormones and tells your body to get that over. So you can shake your arms, your hands, your feet. You can do a little dancing while you're brushing your freaking teeth or whatever, getting ready. Do whatever, just shaking and moving. Even if it's I said, twerking, hell yeah, do it. Let yourself just kind of move how your body needs to without having to worry about how it looks. It's about what your body needs in the moment. So here's the last one. You can just jump over this part if you don't want to. Working out. This is not my favorite one, and I've been incorporating it lately. And anyways, working out is great. It burns off that excess adrenaline, that cortisol. It's also great if someone has a lot of anger, if somebody has a lot of fire energy. This is a really great way to let it out and release it and exert it without harming. So I'm not going to get into it. You can go for a run, you can lift weights, you can do whatever the hell you want. But this is for those who are feeling it. It is a really great way to regulate, but I'm not going to say you have to do this. There are a lot of other ways that you can start incorporating movements of your body. And another one with this is it's not about punishment or pushing yourself or an unhealthy thing. It's just doing it from a place of power. That's all. So once again, when it comes to movement, it's not about productivity. It's not about anything, super crazy or wild or performative or shit on fucking social media. It really just boils down to about your regulation and you feeling better. Teaching your body that stillness isn't the only option for stress. And you don't have to be frozen anymore. You can get to move. Now, here's the thing also. I know there are people out there who have said, meditation gives me anxiety. Meditation makes things worse. And this is sometimes people who are stuck in that fight or flight, the person who is always busy, the person who is always doing things, and they never settle down. Stillness feels like danger. Stillness does not feel comfortable. And so instead of just going full blown into like meditation and stillness, gentle movement might be the key for that if you're one of those people. I just love it. I know. I'm really getting into it. So we're going to go on to the last and the final one. And this one has been always really hard for me. So let's get into it. Fucking gratitude. Yeah, like I said, this is not an easy one for me. I can be a real fucking negative Nancy, and I am like, oh, this is some fucking stupid fucking light worker, fucking light and love bullshit, fucking toxic positivity. Yeah, this one I have definitely struggled with a lot. So here's the thing. I want you right now to just take a deep breath. And I want you to think of one thing that you were grateful for. Not that you should be grateful for or not what sounds good on social media, but something that really resonates. And it can be something fucking small. My cup of tea. My cat snoring over there right now reminds me how freaking cute she is. And I love my fucking cat. And, it just the fact that you woke up today, you're still here. And I'm going to explain why this isn't a performance or toxic positivity. There's actually some really cool like science behind it. So let's get into that part because this, like I said, this is one that I have really struggled with a lot. And I had to I'm one of those people where I have to hear the science behind some shit to like fuck with it. And so for those of you who are like that, this one's a good one. So the reason why it works is for a couple of reasons. That neuroplasticity that we were talking about. Your brain is a pattern making machine. It loves patterns. It loves routines. So every time that you think, feel, or act in a certain way, your brain gets those neurons going to support that experience. And like we said, as you repeat it, those pathways get stronger and stronger, faster and more automatic. So if you've lived in survival mode, those are well-worn paths that your brain has attached, and they become those six-way highways. They are fast, familiar, and nearly impossible to avoid. But like we said, we can rebuild it. We can rewire it. So gratitude doesn't inherently bulldoze those highways. It is a slow burn, just like all patterns and stuff. And what you're doing is you're slowly creating that. And so as you just kind of slowly start getting into this, it's not thinking positively. What you're doing is you're training your brain to access something other than those threats. You are showing your nervous system that there is safety, that there is good, and it's in little doses at a time. And that's fucking great. And if you do it consistently, it will affect a lot of things. And you know what? Sometimes it feels fucking dumb as hell. So here's the thing. We're going to talk about the brain chemistry that is attached to it. So it's not just a mindset. It is literally a chemical shift. And when you practice this genuine embodied gratitude, your brain will start releasing dopamine and serotonin. Those are so much more than just feel-good chemicals. They're messengers that regulate mood, get that motivation, get that emotion going, and it can also help facilitate physical healing. And dopamine creates a sense of reward and pleasure, and it's what lights up when something feels nourishing and satisfying. Serotonin helps with emotional stability, rest, digest, and sleep, and it calms that system from the inside out. So even if you can get just one honest moment of gratitude, nothing forced, nothing performative, you can really start activating those neurochemical cocktail. And it's really great. And that shift isn't imaginary. You can start feeling it within your body. It's just fucking great. So you're not just chasing it. You're really giving yourself a chance to stop spiraling, to feel something solid. And like I said, it can be really small at first. Like you saw when I got excited about my cat snoring. Yeah. So, but as you continue to do these small things, and as you start to find that gratitude, and you start to retrain your brain to see these small positive things in your life, these little glimmers of hope, these little positive things, even on the worst day, even when you're having a shit day, you can still manage that and be like, yeah, today kind of sucked. Nothing seemed to go my way, but you know what? I'm grateful for my cat snoring. I'm grateful for this warm cup of tea, and I'm grateful that I survived the day. Real shit. And it really starts conditioning your system to expect less chaos. It starts conditioning your brain to start looking for the positive, to start seeing the positive, and it shifts that mindset on a chemical, neurological way. And so it isn't spiritual bypassing, it's literally biological medicine. So we are going to get into this, and I'm going to say this wrong. So I have this thing where I read things in my head and they turn out a certain way and then they come out funky. So just bear with me. Gemini placements say what? Amygdala. So this is part of your brain's internal alarm system. And what it does is it is kind of there to look for threats. It's there to look for threats. It's there to look for things. But after trauma, it can get stuck on high alert. It's always reacting to every little thing. An email, silence, a tone, a memory. It is literally programmed to look for those things. And your anxiety gets tripped the fuck up. You have an overactive, that part of your brain is overactive, and you're overly emotional. You're triggered a lot. It's literally associating, it goes into like really complex parts in your brain with like memories. It's pretty intense. And so here's the thing is gratitude can help turn the volume down. It can help calm that. And the amygdala starts looking for things to be grateful for. It starts to look for more positive things instead of always being on that high alert. So it's not spiritually bypassing. Once again, you're interrupting that fear cycle. And over time, it reduces that overactivity, and it also lowers the stress chemicals that occur because of that. And so you're retraining that alarm system. You're teaching it to respond more accurately, so you're not freaking out at every little thing. Like I said, it's about creating those new patterns. It's telling your brain to stop racing. It's telling your brain to find something positive, and that there's still good here, and that we're okay. And it does crazy cool things with your brain and chemicals, right? So there is also a cognitive restructuring, and it helps you reclaim your inner narrative. Your brain, in a lot of ways, is designed to prioritize and look for threats. That's just how our brain is formed, because for a long time, modern civilization's really new, and the brain is developed for when we had a lot more threats like lions and tigers and bears, or the village over is very a threat. You know, like there's reasons why our brain's like that. Our brain is not fully adjusted to modern society. So it just assumes that text message is something bad, or someone says, hey, I need to talk to you, and your brain's like, oh my fucking God. Or you have to go give a speech in front of people, and your brain is convinced that that's a fucking tiger, not literally just a speech in front of people. And so it does that thing. And when trauma really gets that overactive, and so anyways, I went off on a tangent there, but here's the thing is it does kind of keep us, it is there to kind of say what's wrong, what could go bad, how do I need to stay safe. And like I said, trauma really sharpens that. It really gets that even stronger. And your thoughts really do begin to go into that worst case scenario, on loop constantly. I can't do this. I give up. That's one of my big ones that I've had to, and I still sometimes have to work through. So it's you have those thoughts. Everything's awful. This is too much. I can't do this. This always happens. And gratitude interrupts those thoughts, and it slowly starts to dissipate them if you do it consistently. Like, there's actually some really cool studies of people who would write like gratitude letters every day, and they like studied their mindset and how it affected them. And so that really is when you sit there and you kind of disrupt those thoughts. You can create enough space where you're like, well, what also is true? What also is going on? What also is positive? Where can I find this steadiness? Things that aren't okay. Like, I'm a really big person on tragic optimism, and I think I might do a video on what tragic optimism is. But what this is called is called cognitive restructuring. And this is really the process of observing those automatic thoughts and trying to slowly, gently shift that lens, not to really lie to yourself, but to kind of look at the bigger picture. Because like I said, our brains are trained to look for threats. They're trained to look for things bad. It's trained to survive. That's just what the brain is. And you can start shifting that mindset by noticing and appreciating the small, beautiful things in your life. So instead of being trapped within that story, your pain, your panic, the collapse, you start to remember that there could be another thread underneath it. Yes, this is hard, but I'm still breathing. Yes, this hurts, but, I woke up today. Yes, I'm scared or I'm struggling, but I'm also healing. Like, the whole, like, also healing, like, I'm healing. That was a really big one for me last year. So you're not bypassing the fear. You can balance it by acknowledging, yeah, this sucks, but also look at this great thing in my life. And as you start doing that, your nervous system can also start learning that more than one thing can be true at once. And so gratitude is really how you begin to reclaim that narrative within inside your mind, with one grounded truth at a time. So how do you practice it? One of the big ones that they say is to write it down. Writing down activates that prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that helps you reflect and choose your focus. And just start writing, even if it's a sentence or two. What you're trying to do is anchor the experience and build those stronger neural pathways. And keep in mind, how does the brain learn? Through repetition and expression. Say it out loud. After you write it, say it out loud. Oh, wait, what? This is like the vagal nervous, the vagal toning, saying things out loud. Your voice is a part of your body, and speaking it can engage that nervous system. It makes it feel real, letting it vibrate through your chest, through your throat, and let it exist into the air, speaking it into existence. So keeping it specific can help. Avoid those vague things. Reach for something that you can really almost feel, you can sense. Like, you guys saw me get excited about my cat snoring. Like, I felt that excitement of like, oh, I love my fucking cat. Look at her. She's there snoring. I spent so long in my life without a cat. And now I have this little cat snoring on my bed and I love it. Yeah, okay. I love my cat. So one thing that, so just kind of, the softness of my blanket, the fact that I made it through the night, if you're one of those people, just really kind of sticking to it. And I want to just say, if you feel resistant, I just want to say, once again, that's normal when we've been talking about those 6-lane highways and those dirt paths. Resistance is normal, very normal, especially if your nervous system is so used to having to scan and look for the negative and look for those patterns and look for those threats. So here's the thing is, if it's irritating you, if you're shutting down, if you ain't feeling it, that doesn't mean that it's working. It just means that your brain and your nervous system don't recognize it as very familiar yet. That's why it's a practice. So you don't always need to feel grateful, but just kind of start doing the thing. Writing it, saying it aloud. Even if you don't fully believe it, that's okay. Get into the practice. Because, like I said, this part of your brain doesn't really rewire it because you believe it's true. It's about that repetition. And you can start with something really neutral. I'm drinking coffee. I'm grateful that I'm drinking coffee. You know, the light is coming through the window. I'm sitting up. I'm alive. My cat is fucking snoring on my bed. Just keep it, if you have to keep it boring and keep it flat, that's okay. You are just doing it something consistently. You're creating that routine, and that's how the shift will happen. That's how you will start feeling something. That's how you will start shifting it, is by showing your brain this new pathway again and again and again and again. So gratitude isn't spiritual bypassing. It's literally repatterning a system that was trained to expect everything to collapse. And you're offering your brain a new signal, a new pathway, you know, and it doesn't have to be big. It can be real. My cat, that's not other people, that's not a big deal. But to me, it's like the biggest deal. I love my fucking cat. And it just, you know, one small truth, one small thing, one at a time. And if you consistently do it and you continue to write on it and you continue to go, and you can start writing more things, and you can start really feeling it embodied. So just remember that it doesn't happen by accident. It's just through rhythm and all of that stuff. So thank you. I'm so excited. I'm grateful you're fucking here and watching. So let's wrap the fuck up. Regulation doesn't happen by accident. It happens through rhythm. It happens through repetition. It happens through conscious, gentle interruptions of old survival patterns. And here's the thing, is sometimes you won't want to get up and do these things. You won't. That is that resistance, because your brain's like, I want to stay on this 6-lane highway. Fuck that dirt path. You got to get up and do it anyways, because eventually it will become a lot easier. And I just want to clarify, this isn't about necessarily fixing yourself. It's about really coming back into your body. It's coming back into your power. It's coming back home to yourself. And sometimes you might not feel calm all the way. Some days it will suck. You don't have to do it right. Just start doing it, and start doing it consistently, because every time that you show up, every time that you breathe, every time that you move, every time that you anchor, or every time that you notice something fucking beautiful in your life, you are telling your nervous system, we are safe enough to feel today. We don't have to live in the trauma anymore. And in this moment, it belongs to me. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but you're not broken. You are complete and you are whole. You are building patterns, and that's the real fucking work. And it gets easier. I fucking promise. So here's the deal. If this video helped you, make sure you hit a like and subscribe. Maybe drop a comment below. Maybe share it to someone. And if you really want to get deeper, I do have a Patreon that I am developing, that we're going to get into more trauma-informed witchcraft, more shadow work, more somatic healing. So the link is in the description, as well as my website, if you want to work with me or check out any of my services. And yeah, and so I just want to remind you, once again, you're not behind, you are becoming. And in this moment, this is where it starts.